All right, I believe it is 6 o'clock, so I'd like to call us to order in accordance with South Carolina Code of Laws 1985, Section 30-4-80-E. The following have been notified of the time, place, and agenda of this meeting: the Herald, the Charlotte Observer, CN2, and WRHI. Thanks, everybody, for joining. If you wouldn't mind, please join me for a moment of silence. Thank you. We'll now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. You've all received a copy of the agenda. Were there any adjustments or corrections?
Negative.
That will stand with unanimous consent. I would mention we are short today, so this is all you're going to have. We've got a couple that are not going to be able to join us today, so just the 5 board members tonight. Our next item is the approval of minutes from November the 18th. Were there any adjustments or corrections to those?
No.
Okay, those will also stand by unanimous consent, and we will move to some exciting special recognition. Are you going down?
I'm going to go down.
Okay, you're going down. I'll wait till you get there. All right, so our first one is recognition for the Nation Forward High School Literary Magazine called Voices. Ms. Swan may be doing the discussion on. Oh, come on up. Come on up. Do you want to go to the podium and talk about this? Right up there? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, my name is Beth Swan, and it is my privilege and my honor to be advisor for Nation Forward's literary magazine. Actually, it's Literary and Arts Magazine, and it's called Voices, but you'll see on the cover there that they have a theme for each one, so every year it's different, and last year, Editor-in-Chief, this is Emmy Rushing, and then we have another staff member, Ivy Harstein, with us tonight. They all decided that they wanted the theme to be mosaic. And so in the magazine, you will find the digital art and design. So we're indebted to that group of kids. We have fine arts and design. We have photography. And then, of course, we have the writing. And we accept submissions from anyone in the school. Many of them are my creative writing students, but some of them aren't. So we have a wide variety of voices. We try to include them, and it's special that we get to have that. Not every school has a literary and arts magazine, and it provides, I think, not only the opportunity for students to explore their identities and express themselves and that type of thing, but they have a community in which the arts are valued and highlighted, and it builds a sense of community in the school. And they also learn about publishing and editing, graphic design, all that kind of thing. So it's really an ensemble product, and I'm super proud of the students. I'm basically the advisor. They're in charge. They run this whole thing and put it all together. So we were fortunate to be recognized with the South Carolina Scholastic Press Association. Once again, we've got quite a few of these as best in state. So they're best in South Carolina this year.
That's awesome. How would one get a copy of such magazine if they were interested in having one?
Just let me know, and I have them on PDF,
Okay.
so I can get that. And also, and I neglected to thank Mr. Janda, who's been a huge supporter of student voices and publications.
Awesome. Our next recognition is for some cross-country, Fort Mill High School 5A Division II state champs, girls and boys. This seems to be a continual theme.
Again, thank you, everybody, this evening. Thank you, to the board, for recognizing these great athletes. I'm here on behalf of Coach Whitaker. He could not be here tonight, but the main thing that we want to talk about is representing and recognizing these great athletes. We are very lucky at Fort Mill High School to have a wonderful cross-country program. And tonight we're recognizing two teams, both the boys and the girls, 5A Division II state champions. One of the main things that Coach wanted me to mention is what made this team special, and it's the team effort that they put in every single day and the work ethic. And I think that's the main thing that needs to be recognized for these fine individuals up front. And especially in this situation, the boys are back-to-back state champions, and the girls are three-peat state champions. So just taking this opportunity to recognize these great athletes that have been up here before, and we hope that they're going to be up here several more times moving into the future. But again, two individuals that we do want to recognize. We want to recognize Marley Cook and also Finn Lacron. They ended up being the individual state runners-up in both their individual races. So thank you for this opportunity to recognize these individuals, and thank you for your continued support of Fort Mill High School athletics.
I did a turkey trot on Thanksgiving, and I think I was halfway through when the first ones were crossing the finish line, so I'm betting it was some of their time. Our next recognition has to do with some strand completers from our Leadership Academy. Dr. Dixon is going to talk about this. One of the things I will say as I was looking through this is, you know, we always brag about our teachers and how we have the best teachers and administrators in the state and in the country. And just the fact that this many have wanted to do additional leadership development, I think just speaks volumes for the dedication they have to this importance.
Madam Chair, thank you so much for that warm introduction to what I'm about to do, which is recognize several folks in our district who have taken it upon themselves to choose to participate in professional support to hone their leadership skills. I feel certain when we get to the conclusion of the school year, we will have additional completers of our leadership strands. But tonight, I want to recognize those folks who have already completed some of those professional development opportunities we provide for them related to leadership. The first group I want to recognize is a group of individuals who completed our School Leadership Basics series. This training included 3 1-hour and 15-minute sessions on board policy basics with a focus on sections G, I, and J, personnel, instruction, and students, school finance basics in collaboration with Ms. Lordo's office, and HR basics in collaboration with Mr. Olinger's office. The content shared was based on information that participants shared in our initial survey, which determined our Leadership Academy needs. So tonight I want to recognize Mickey Joslin, Aaron Plummer, Dave Chesky, and Nick Janowitz. They all completed the School Leadership Basics. The next group of completers were folks who completed our Courageous Leadership strand. Again, they participated in 3 1-hour and 15-minute sessions on leading change, crucial conversations, and communication and influence. Congratulations to Aaron Plummer, Brittany Koback, Tripp Hartley, Megan Mallory, Barry Ledford, Holly Logan, Jen Hendershot, Vicky Tuzo, Amy Rhodes, and Mabra Wayman. Our next strand focused on our teacher leaders, or those who are already in teacher leadership positions or who aspire to be in leadership positions. We had a large number of participants for this particular strand. Congratulations to Sean Simmons, Alex Neese, Lindsay Morgan, Megan O'Neill, Natalia Segarra, Ashley Scott, Lindsay Brabowski, Allison Kilowitz, Megan Linkus, Christy Reynolds, Madison Tomchek, Wendy Bird, Tyler Shore, and Christine June. Megan, Christine, and Madison, right here. And Wendy.
All in order.
Don't forget that.
There should be one more, Christine June. Should be one more.
Happens to me all the time.
Our next strand focused on personal leadership development. That strand included 3 sessions, and those sessions were frameworks for effective leadership, leading for development, and strategic thinking. Congratulations to Ellen Borland, Kristen Rhodes, Megan Mallory, Trina McFadden, and Al Stevens. Just one. Just one. Just one. It says for one or more.
There you go.
And then our final group tonight is from our non-instructional leader strand. So this typically is for those, designed for those leaders who are in leadership positions outside of the principal or assistant principal role, but still supervise and lead others. 2 one-hour sessions were held for this strand. Our people that we're recognizing for completion of this strand tonight are Kelly Dusack, Madison Generelli, and Nicole Carroll. No, I saw that. I love all aspects of my job, but I have to tell you, I'm thrilled with Leadership Academy. I think it speaks volumes about our district's investment in leaders, and the future of the Fort Mill School District is bright. We have lots of folks who are highly engaged with honing their leadership. Thank you so much.
Always learning and growing. It's amazing. And now we have our next installment of Red Noses.
We're good. All right, this is my favorite part. I love recognizing people for building culture in our district, and this is a great way to do it. This recognition program, we did it last month for the first time, established in honor of Stormy Young, who was my dad and obviously a longtime educator in Fort Mill. And he used this as the red clown nose, which is featured in the movie Patch Adams. He used it as a tool for humor and for connection. And this award for us really is to highlight the excellence, the equity, the empathy, the kindness, and really those people that can connect with their colleagues, but most importantly, their students. So I'm excited. We connected to the 4 C's, which are culture, community engagement, commitment, and continuous improvement. So I'm excited to recognize our next 4 winners. Our first one is Miss Robbie Sluter. Oh, look, thank you, myself. All right, go ahead and start taking the nose out. Ms. Sluter is a true ray of sunshine in the definition of excellence, empathy, and kindness. She is an excellent teacher and peer, demonstrating profound empathy and having a significant positive impact on our school culture. Deeply committed to our community and students, she is driven by their success. Though she is a quiet leader, I disagree with that. Who tries to fly under the radar, her heart shines brightly, and she truly deserves this recognition. Congratulations, Robbie. All right. Oh, I didn't give you your certificate. All right. Next, we have Miss Amber Smith from the district office. We have to trick these people to come to the meeting, so. Amber should, I have to take this off when I talk. It sound like this. Amber should be commended for her work in getting the very best of all of our learners. She leads with heart, humor, and compassion for others. She staunchly advocates for our multilingual learners and those students who need extra support. Her drive for continuous improvement leads to direct results for our students. You get a certificate too. I'm not very good at this. All right, next, we have our first school resource officer being recognized, Miss Leanna Cutler from Fort Mill Middle School. Officer Cutler is truly exceptional and indispensable. She is the first one here daily, ensuring campus safety. She consistently goes above and beyond for our students, providing resources, conducting home visits, and offering support in court. This year, she proactively started a book club to build strong connections. Her commitment is visible in her office's Zen space, which students use to calm down. Officer Cutler also expands her positive reach as the female wrestling coach at Fort Mill High School. The students love her, and we all feel safe with her here at Fort Mill Middle. Congratulations. And then last but not least, we have Rebecca Pollock from Orchard Park Elementary School. Rebecca is an outstanding individual who nurtures both student learning and a vital love of reading across our campus. She consistently goes above and beyond by expertly organizing major school-wide events, including Battle of the Books and the One School, One Book event. These initiatives enrich the educational experience and successfully bring our school and community together. Congratulations. All right, thank you. That's it.
Our next agenda item, kind of like recognition again, we've got a school spotlight for Fort Mill Middle. So I believe Dr. McQuay is going to take us through this.
All right, good evening, everyone. Wait on my slides to get up there. All right. I'm so excited to be here tonight to share with you guys some of the fantastic things we have going on at Fort Mill Middle. I'm really excited because we have some of our kiddos here, our student leaders, to share with you as well. During our last, there it goes, board presentation that we did, it was about 3 years ago, we highlighted some of the things that we had done to improve our culture and climate in our building. And we're still doing all of those things, but we are always focused on improvement and looking to those 4 C's that Mr. Young just shared a moment ago. We're always trying to continuously improve, build culture, build community. And we added to our efforts that we shared previously because we were not satisfied with that data up there. We wanted above 89.1% to say they were satisfied with their learning environment and felt safe at school. We wanted 100%. So we tried to do some things to make sure that we could decrease the bullying in our school, because as you can see in that question at the bottom, it says that adults are not preventing it from happening in like 30% of the time. So we never want to settle for that. So we had significantly decreased our office referrals with those previous things we talked to you about. So tonight we're going to talk about 3 additions to our toolkit, and those are Safe Schools Ambassadors, Behavior Academies, and our SRO Book Club. So let me bring up Mr. Jocelyn to share with you next.
Good evening. My name is Mickey Jocelyn, and I'm the 7th grade assistant principal at Fort Mill Middle School. Through a grant written by our safety department at the DO, Fort Mill Middle School is fortunate to have students trained to be Safe School Ambassadors. Safe School Ambassadors is a national program that is research proven to reduce bullying, prevent violence, and empower students to report concerning incidents to a trusted adult and to change societal norms within a school. Positive student leaders can change what is seen by their peers to be acceptable behavior toward one another way more than adults can. We have 2 of our 45 ambassadors here with us tonight to share their experience. First up is Ashley Cruz, 7th grader.
Hi, my name is Ashley Cruz, and I am a 7th grader. I was trained last year to be an ambassador, and I'm excited to continue on this year. This program trained me to know how to diffuse or distract peers when they are feeling angry, how to support someone who is feeling down or may have been target of a bully. I've also learned how to recognize larger situations that may need an adult's help.
Hello, my name is James McPherson, and I am a 6th grader and newly trained ambassador. The training I received made me feel like I could make a difference in my school. I like that I get to lead by helping my school be a better place for everyone.
Hello, my name is Dee Sanders, and I am the 6th grade assistant principal at Fort Mill Middle School. The 6th grade Behavior Academy is a pilot program providing explicit, targeted support for essential behavioral skills. Our core belief is behavior needs to be taught as explicitly as math and reading. We are implementing a proven structured curriculum, the Hannigan model, to move beyond standard discipline and provide focused instruction for students needing support in civility and self-regulation. Our approach is entirely data-driven, using Q1 baseline data across 3 areas: minor-major referrals, academic grades, and teacher input. This data led to the selection of 9 students for our initial pilot this quarter, split into 2 academies. The first one is Civility Academy, which has 6 students currently, focusing on positive peer interactions and respectful communication. The second is Emotional Regulation. This has 3 students, in it. Teaches coping strategies and impulse control led by our behavior interventionist. All instruction follows 4 explicit steps: identifying the problem behavior, teaching 2 positive replacements, practicing through role-playing, and reinforcing the new skills in the classroom. We will rigorously monitor success by comparing the students' Q2 referrals and grade data against Q1 baseline and a control group. Based on positive outcomes, we plan to recommend an expansion of the Behavior Academy for the next school year.
Hello, my name is Sanai McDowell. I am an 8th grader. I am here to tell you about our SRO book club. Currently, we are reading The Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. We meet at least 3 times per month to discuss the book we are reading and also our lives. I like having another adult in the building that I know and trust to help me when I need it. We not only feel supported by her, but also by each other. Each week, we journal about our week and how we are feeling. We also set goals to better ourselves.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Trina McFadden. I'm the incoming principal for Fort Mill Middle School as Dr. McQuaid prepares to open Flint Hill Middle School. I have to say, I've said this 1,000 times to anyone who will listen. I'm completely grateful for this opportunity, actually to join the staff in July. I've been assistant principal there just for this school year. This school truly is just an amazing place to be. It is a true family. It's a place where our students and our staff feel supported, and that didn't come by happen chance. We've got a great superintendent, we've got a great board, district office staff at large in our community. So there's been a lot poured into Fort Mill Middle School. It is my desire just to continue that legacy of success. We also want to say that we're very proud of our student jackets who are here today. It takes a lot for a kid to stand up here in front of a bunch of adults, most of us looking very serious, to talk about what they're doing at school. They represent the very best we have to offer at Fort Mill Middle. So thank you to you all and your families for getting you here tonight. We hope you've enjoyed hearing about these 3 initiatives, these opportunities for student empowerment. We will continue those for the remainder of the 25-26 school year. Looking forward in the future, that is one of our goals. We hope to continue to partner with our communities to continue to get support from district office, and we look forward to continued success. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, I do have a couple of cards for public participation, which is our next agenda item. So you'll each have 5 minutes, and the first one up is Frank Juranic. If you'll state your name and address, and then the floor is yours.
Good evening, board members. My name is Frank Juranic. My wife and I live at 2591 Lower Assembly Drive here in Fort Mill. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. First, let me say that I understand you face serious issues and problems every day. And one of those serious issues is the reason I'm here tonight. Specifically, the safety of our children, teachers, and the concerns associated with the operation of the Silphat facility adjacent to the Fort Mill schools. But first, a little background on myself. I'm a retired engineering manager. Early in my career, I worked as an analytical chemist. My boss and later my mentor always expected me to go beyond what I was comfortable with. He would say to me, a good man can always do a little bit more. What he meant was, are you 100% confident in the results you're about to present to me? Have you fully examined all the possible elements of this analysis? Did you miss something? This philosophy has been a big influence throughout my professional career. It has been modified by our 3 children to keep in line with the changing times to say, a good person can always do a little bit more. I stand before you today. I believe each of you is a good person, committed to doing the right thing for our school district. So I ask you, are you a good person? Can you do a little bit more? In this situation where the safety of our children and teachers are at risk due to the operation of the Silphat facility, are you 100% confident with results of your investigations and corrective actions? Have all the elements of this potential hazard been fully examined? Did you miss something? Can you truthfully say to yourself and your students and teachers that as a good person, I did a little bit more? That I am confident that there are no unmet safety concerns with the operation of the Silphat facility in its current site? I feel that answer to that question is no. You know what has to be done to resolve this safety issue? It's been stated numerous times. Use this board's influence and authority to advocate for the concerns of the community and object to the Silphat operation in its current site. support the work to have the operation relocated to a properly zoned location. You have a strong voice here in Fort Mill. Please use that strong voice for our children, protect our children, our teachers under your care. In closing, I hope that I have left you with something to think about and to react to, but that was my intention. I feel that each of you is a good person and that you can do a little bit more to protect our children under your care. Thank you for letting me speak tonight and share my perspective.
Thank you, Mr. Juranic. The second card is from Ashley Horn.
Hello, good evening. My name is Ashley Horn, and I live at 4104 Bamborough Drive in Fort Mill. I wanted to talk about the recent interview on Straight Talk with Manny Kimmel on WRHI, where the district's communication chief sat beside Julie Wajanowski at Citadel EHS and presented what sounded like a definitive safety assessment of SILFAB. What they said matters because thousands of parents interpreted it as an authoritative fact. The issue here is not the act of speaking, it's the substance of the claims that were made. From the start, the interview took a tone of reassurance rather than evaluation. Julie opened at 55 seconds with, "We found our forever home in Fort Mill, less than a mile from SILFAB." That's not analysis. It's an emotional introduction designed to create comfort before any risks were discussed. A neutral evaluator begins with evidence, not personal sentiment. A few minutes later, the host, who openly said he does not understand science, told her, "You are a nurse, so you have all the science background," and she replied, "That is right," at 2 minutes and 5 seconds. This left the public with the impression that nursing training conveys expertise in pyrophoric gas behavior, leak modeling, combustion dynamics, and federal risk management programs. It does not, and neutrality requires both truth and requires truth about qualifications. A critical moment came at 18 minutes and 55 seconds when Julie said, SILFAB is bound by multiple levels of regulations, and those regulations ensure utmost safety. This is incorrect. Solar cell manufacturing is one of the least regulated industries in America. There's no federal code for comprehensively governs the process from end to end. To make matters even worse, the SILFAB facility will be self-monitored. That means SILFAB is allowed to check its own equipment, report its own readings, and determine its own compliance without routine federal inspection. And many of the most important precautions that the public assumes are legally required, such as continuous leak detection, redundant sensors, emergency ventilation systems, and automatic shutdowns, are not required by law at all. They're voluntary choices, and voluntary safety is not guaranteed safety. When discussing actual chemical hazards, the interview moved into a dangerous simplification. At 28 minutes and 15 seconds, describing silane, one of the most reactive gases used in manufacturing, Julie said, "There will be a boom, then it turns to sand." This is not an adequate or responsible description of a pyrophoric reaction. There was no discussion of gas dispersion, delayed ignition, thermal radiation, or how a vapor cloud can transfer before it ignites. This is not risk communication, it's safety washing. Even the emergency response plan was presented in terms that no parent should hear from a safety consultant. At 23 minutes and 40 seconds, we were told the hope is that SILFAB sensors will alarm and they will call 911. Hope is not a control measure. Hope is not a safety system. Hope is not what should be guiding emergency planning for children in classrooms next to a chemical facility. When air sampling was discussed at 12 minutes and 30 seconds, the public heard that readings were pretty normal. But of course they're normal because the plant is not operating. EPA screening levels do not measure leak risk, ignition potential, system failures, or combustion hazards. Yet the way the results were presented made it sound like normal air today guarantees normal air tomorrow. What WRHI delivered was not neutrality or rigor. It was reassurance. It was a simplified narrative that carried the weight of district authority, even though the details were incomplete and inaccurate. A school district cannot rely on comfort, optimism, or voluntary corporate safeguards described as if they were mandatory protections. It cannot allow safety washing to substitute for independent evaluation. Reassurance does not protect children. Accuracy does, transparency does and accountability does. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we've got a couple of staff reports coming up, starting with our monthly financial update. Ms. Lordo.
Good evening. In your packets, we provided the monthly financials for October 31st. So we are 4 months into the fiscal year. At this point, as we would expect, our total revenues are $51,248,000 compared to our total expenditures of $71,169,000. So we are in a period of using our fund balance, as we would expect. Even though property tax notices for real estate went out in October, we did begin to collect some real estate taxes. We collected $2.4 million in October, but it's still very much a month where we're dependent on our cash flow from fund balance. Vehicle tax collections were $2.3 million in October, and we also, this is a month where we begin to see the Act 388 Tier 3 monthly payments. That is our state reimbursement for what we all as homeowners are not paying in school operating millage. That begins in October, so we saw that come in. It's $2,429,000. So that will now be our monthly payment for this fiscal year, and we will receive 10 payments on Act 388 Tier 3. But in review of the October financials, I did not see anything else that was unexpected or different to me, but I'm glad to answer any questions in your review if you had any.
Could you just repeat?
Sure.
What was our distribution from 388?
2 million, I'm gonna give you the exact number, $2,429,846. And it comes in 10 payments.
Per month for 10 months.
Yes, 10 months.
Just for fun, what was it supposed to be?
That is based on that is what it, well, you mean how much are we really short?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I will obtain that exact number, but we're probably somewhere in the 60 to 70 million a year range. That we would be receiving an additional 60 plus million a year in tax collections. It is a lot of money, yes. But that's a great question, and I will get that exact number from York County and provide that to you.
Thanks.
At the next meeting.
Leanne, I have one question.
Sure.
The federal dollars up there is
Yes.
zero. I know we don't get a
So-
lot in federal, but is it literally zero? And
This is general fund only.
Okay.
Which that's a great question for the benefit of the public as well. So the majority of our federal dollars come in what we call a special revenue fund, and they are not in these numbers. This is only the general fund, which is board-approved funding.
Okay.
So primarily, our federal dollars are Title I and IDEA, and those, by accounting rules, we keep track of that separate in a separate fund.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yes. This is the piece of federal dollars that come through the general fund. It's only related to the ROTC programs at our high schools.
And so we haven't gotten that yet.
And so we haven't, or it is so small
That it's
in
rounds
relation to the,
Yeah.
to the total general fund. But that's a great question as well. I do want to share with you the status on audit reports. I believe that at the last meeting, we shared that due to the federal shutdown, the OMB office that governs audits of federal funding, they had delayed issuance of what they call their compliance supplement, which gives our outside auditors the guidelines and requirements for auditing federal programs for the past fiscal year. Because of that, our South Carolina State Department of Education had instructed school districts that we could submit our audit report as a draft by the December 1st deadline, which we did, along with all the other South Carolina school districts. But right before Thanksgiving, the OMB compliance supplement was issued. It was issued on November 25th. Last Friday, the State Department issued their final audit guidelines to match the federal compliance supplement, and so now our outside audit firm, Green Finney Cawley, they have let us know that they are finalizing all their work papers, and they plan to issue our final report prior to the Christmas break. But because of that, I don't think, Joe Burke and I don't think that we will not be able to get the actual printed books for you to have over the break to prepare for the presentation of audit. We will put the document on board docs electronically for you as soon as we get the final document. But I don't think we will be able to have the books back from the printer. But David Phillips, who's the partner with Green Finney, he is planning to be here at the January board meeting to present the audit to you.
January 6th?
January 6th.
Okay.
The state has now issued a memorandum to us that has extended the deadline for all school districts in South Carolina to file their final report by January 9th. But we anticipate that we will have ours filed well in advance of that, once we get the final final report from our audit firm, which we don't expect any
Well,
changes.
that's what I was gonna say, so
No.
printing aside.
Printing
not
aside,
expecting anything different
it's
than the
more
draft.
of a formality with compliance with the federal guidelines at this point.
Okay.
But that's where we stand with that. But we're very happy that they did finally release that because it has some other implications as we apply for our 2 award programs that we submit our audit report to. We weren't sure how all of those deadlines were going to work. But everything should be back on track for filing by the end of the year, the end of the calendar year, which is when some of those programs have their deadlines for filing the audit report. I did also want to mention about the, I think I shared with you at the last board meeting that the South Carolina Revenue and Fiscal Affairs Office, Frank Rainwater's office, had issued their compliance report, their recommendation report for changes in the state funding, state aid to classroom funding. There were 9 recommendations that covered a variety of areas. We were hopeful that they would issue these projections to us in a district-by-district format that we could see potentially what these 9 recommendations could mean, as we will quickly here after the holiday be starting to plan for the budget for next year. We've now been told that they are not going to release the allocations by district, that they are going to wait until the budget process starts moving in Columbia, and as it moves through House Ways and Means and then to the House and the Senate Finance, as the discussions come about with which pieces of the recommendations may happen, that they will start running various scenarios based on different pieces of the recommendations. So school districts, I think I can say for all of my colleagues, we're a little disappointed because we were very hopeful that we could see something to give us some idea of what this means for us, but that does not appear that that's going to be the process going into the state budget. So I just wanted to make you aware of that as well, if you heard various things about that in the next month. Any questions about that?
So we're gonna be trying to budget with.
We are going to be trying to plan based on where we are now. It's very difficult to know because it's all on proportionate share.
Yeah.
And so it is very difficult to project any impact of some of the items as it related to, if you remember, some of the larger items had to do with charter school funding and pulling them out separately, which means the larger pot would be smaller, but it would be a more equitable formula for traditional districts like us as well as the charter districts. There were some changes in some of the weightings that we're going to roll up together. There is a hold harmless recommendation that would mean that we would not receive less than the current year.
This year.
Okay.
So even if we lose like the extra funding we get for gifted and talented, or the extra funding we get for E ESOL?
That it would roll into the base funding.
And that's only a
Is in one
recommendation
of-
right now,
And
right?
these are 9 recommendations, and from what we're being told, all 9 could be adopted, only 1 or none could be adopted.
Right.
But I just want to make sure I'm keeping you informed of what I'm hearing, and as we start planning for our budget for the next year, especially opening a new middle school, too. And we are hearing that, that the recommendation for the minimum state teacher salary scale will be to increase each cell $2,000. So that the state minimum teacher starting pay would be $50,500, which we are already over that. But that looks like that's gonna be the recommendation, is to increase each cell $2,000,
Funded by the state?
supposedly. Yes, yes.
I'm not sure it ever
Or mandated by the state?
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes.
Okay.
Yes and yes. Impact fees, we have now collected to date $82,249,724. We've earned interest through October of $7,479,000. The county's not updated for November yet. But I wanted to share with you, we had a large claim last week on Flint Hill Middle School of $4.3 million rounded. So we have now claimed $88.9 million. So we have less than $1 million that is being held by the county at this point that we have not claimed. So we are keeping up with as we've collected, we have made claims, and lowered what we're having to pull out of bonded funding for Flint Hill Middle School at this point. We did have, in November, we had 21 permits issued, 5 were homes and 16 were multifamily for November. We've already had 4 homes permitted in December. So November actual collections were $480,936. And in December so far, we've already collected a little over $118,000 in impact fees. So single-family units to date now, we've collected on 2,967 and multifamily 2,204. So total units 5,171.
Leanne, I remember when we started this process, we were looking at all of the approved plats. I'm not sure that's the right term, but, you know, and it was in the 10,000-ish homes.
Yes.
Homes, townhomes, whatever. So that would say, if they all come to fruition, sort of halfway through.
We're about halfway through.
What was projected. And there's probably been a few more developments approved since then, but not a whole lot, I don't.
Probably not a whole lot, but I believe there has been some additional added sections of some of those
Yeah.
developments.
Changes in numbers and things like that.
Correct.
But just order of magnitude, about half.
Yes.
Of what we thought was targeted to be developed in our community over the next 5-10 years.
Correct. So, but I just want to make sure that everyone is up to date with, I mean, we are drawing those funds down and we are using those as quickly as they're coming in to save our taxpayers on the bonded debt on the new schools. So,
Excellent.
okay,
All right. Questions for Ms. Lordo?
okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Our next agenda item is, I don't know how to, behind the scenes, beyond the classroom. So I want to hear from, I don't know if the students are going to do it or if LaToya and Joe are going to do it. You guys taking it away? All right. We're taking care of it. Okay. Okay. Well, unfortunately, because we've got a recording, we do need you at the microphone. Sorry. Sorry, I know.
Excuse me,
We can hear you
children.
fine, but.
That's okay, that's okay. All right, so before I begin, I'd like to thank Darlene Romanek, you'll understand why in just a minute, but also our principal, Mr. Chris Chandler, for allowing us the freedom and flexibility we needed to accomplish this task. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Lynn Marsh, and I teach marketing and management at Nation Ford High. I'm here tonight with my students, or as I like to call them, my employees, because we were excited to accept Darlene Romanik's request to take on a real-world marketing project. For us, it was an instant yes, because the project gave my students the chance to apply their marketing management skills in an authentic way, while also helping the district gain deeper insight for a large-scale social media and informational campaign. What made this experience so incredibly powerful is that it focuses on the voices of the people who matter most, our students. They are the largest stakeholder group in the Fort Mill schools, and their perspectives offer valuable direction for our work. So rather than listening to me tonight, I'm excited to turn the floor over to them. They're prepared, they're super excited, and they're eager to share their chapter in the Fort Mill School District story.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Emma Seastead.
My name is Grant McMinn.
My name is Angie Cepeda Ramirez.
And I'm Cole McCutcheon, and we were tasked by Ms. Romanik to create a series of engaging social media posts to help recruit teachers, but also highlight the amazing teachers we already have in this district. So for this project, we needed to collect data. We sent out surveys to schools. We also interviewed teachers, interns, and students all over the district. This project took our whole class, which is 21 students, Ms. Marsh, Ms. Romanik, and 2.5 months worth of work. All of our campaigns were designed and produced by students for the FMSD community.
At the start of this project, we sat down with Ms. Marsh and Ms. Romanik to create a list of goals that we knew we were going to be able to accomplish and achieve within our time constraints. Our first goal that we created was highlighting our teachers and our interns, which is why we went in the schools to see exactly what they were doing. We then shifted our focus to the students, finding out what exactly they wanted in a teacher, since they're the ones sitting in the classrooms every day. We interviewed students from ages 4 to 18. We then built a consistent social media presence with the goal of attracting new teachers into the district. And then we shifted our focus to retention, finding the why and why teachers stay and why they continue to leave.
I want to give back the way the teachers gave back to me.
My mom's a teacher. I see her, she loves her job. I was like, I want to have a fun job like that.
I knew I've always wanted to be a teacher because I've always just enjoyed like helping others. Being able to help the children and share my knowledge to help them and benefit them.
I've always had a passion for education.
Have them have a positive learning experience and make an impact.
I really want to be a teacher so I can change the world and help the next generation.
100%.
I think yes.
I would because I really like it up here.
I think I would accept a job if it was offered to me.
Absolutely. I would accept it quickly.
Yes, I love the Fort Mill School District and I really like it and I like the staff and everything here.
Absolutely. Yes, I would. I would want to accept it for a lot of reasons. I love the kids here. I love the staff at these schools. I like the people in the school district. I like the families. I love the community.
The video just watched is one of about 10 videos that we made to accomplish the goal of a social media presence. It's very consistent, and it always keeps the same colors that we use normally in our formal school district logo, and we really just tried to make it pop. As of right now, our social media presence was kind of lacking, and we thought this could change it very well.
Alongside the videos, we also created social media templates as another marketing strategy. We created over 65 finished templates, and it took us 20+ students to do this. We learned through this process that it can be very overwhelming at first, despite how little of a task it may appear, which is why we encourage Ms. Romanik to get a possible team of interns to help with having this extra help.
To begin with our data, we're going to talk about student perspective. Now, why is student perspective important? It's because teachers teach students. So they're the ones who notice and observe how teachers teach their class and manage their classroom with their students. Based on our pie chart that we made based off a high school student survey that we created to find out what students value in teachers, we found out that students really appreciate teachers who are approachable, engaging, and are good communicators. Those three qualities can be seen within these three values, which are positive reinforcement, which can be a simple act of good job, you're doing great, any words of encouragement that can get a student to be motivated to do their work and to be happy about coming to school and getting to sit down and do their work. Personalized attention is the next one, which is really important because many students have different types of learning styles, which is really valuable for students to see teachers who can adapt to those learning styles and be able to allow students to understand the content that they're learning. And lastly, consistency of passion is really important because students really love seeing teachers who come in and know what they're teaching and know what they're doing in order for students to be like, oh, I know what my teacher can help solve this problem for me. Lastly, students and teachers come together to create a cycle of mutual inspiration, as students really love seeing teachers who can show that courage and confidence in their teachings and their studies. And teachers, one of the main reasons why they come to teach is because of the students and being able to see them grow and adapt to their studies.
From the data we gathered, we found that teachers really love the community that we have here in Fort Mill School District. Out of all the teachers we interviewed, 55% mentioned how great our community is. One thing they really love is the parental support. They feel like the parents are very involved in their kids' lives, and this helps with behavior, attention, and focus in class. They also feel that teachers in the district share common educational values and goals. This encourages teachers to work together to make our schools a better place, and what teachers doesn't want to be a part of that. Highlighting this community can be a key aspect when we're trying to recruit and keep talented educators we already have in the district.
Now, reasons teachers are leaving. Throughout the project, we found there's a multitude of reasons, but these are the main three that constantly came up. Number one, lack of voice. We found that a lot of teachers feel as if even when they are asked their opinion on certain tasks and certain things, their opinion doesn't really have any weight, and that is overall discouraging, and it makes them feel like, why would I put 110% into a system where I don't really have a say? The second one we found was fear of backlash. We interviewed a lot of teachers in this project, and we found a good amount didn't want to say anything negative about the school district. Even if it was constructive and would help us in the long term, they were scared of the repercussions that would happen if they spoke out against the district. And then number three, the divide. This goes along with the other two. The divide is what I'm talking about with a distance between upper management and our educators. 54% of exiting teachers do not complete an exit survey. We think that shows the divide, shows that the lack of voice and fear of backlash is an actual problem and not just a thing that is going on with all educators in the world. If you'll turn your attention to the pie charts, you can see that teachers in formal school districts of 11 plus years have a double turnover rate than the average state. We think that also shows, again, that this is a problem and not just the standard.
Work-based learning. The benefit is that it allows students like us to use our marketing experience to advance our professional development. Seen in this picture here is two of our students that were able to go with Ms. Romanick to a recruiting event. They were able to gain the experience that she goes out and does every day, and they also provided prospective teachers with the ability to talk to actual students. This provided them the practical, real-world experience that is offered in many Level 3 classes, but is not as common within the marketing major. So utilizing that work-based learning to allow Ms. Romanick to get a team of interns would not only benefit her, but it would also benefit the students. This would allow the students the creation of building portfolios and resumes that reflect their comprehensive marketing knowledge, which can be very beneficial when they start applying to colleges, internships, co-ops, and jobs. This will ultimately reflect positively back on the district for being able to provide their students with opportunities like these.
Based on all of our data, something that the board can do is have a little focus on teacher cadets and intro to teaching, as they are a really great example of work-based learning. They are really important because those are students who learn how to manage a classroom and learn how it is to be a teacher. So those students are the ones who are most likely to become future teachers and get education degrees in college. Based on some of our data, we have discovered that roughly around 25% of teacher degree students actually want to believe that they want to pursue an education degree in college. And so a question to consider would be how can we get those 25% of students to become teachers in Fort Mill School District? And as for the 75% of students that say they don't really want to, this can be, we want to really know the reason of like why they don't want to, which can be the low pay that can really affect their lifestyle, or they just don't have the resources to get into college. So one thing to consider is how can we help them consider becoming a future teacher?
Another proposed thing we came up with was maintaining relationships. Right now, all the interns in Fort Mill School District come from Winthrop, and we think that if we keep in contact with our teacher cadets and intro to teaching students as they go through their education degrees, we could eventually bring them back home with that sense of community. We thought about maybe having a board of people that keeps in contact with them, or just making sure that teachers that they may have taken 3 or 4 classes or been completers of, keep in contact with them with text, emails, or postcards, anything like that. Another thing we came up with was total quality management. In our marketing class, we learned about total quality management, and it's essentially that if you don't work with the first line workers, which is our educators in the stands, then the rest of the whole system will never be perfect. And we think this also needs to be addressed with the divide, like I said earlier, with our upper management and our educators.
We also need to value and involve teachers in things like planning, because they're the ones in the classrooms every day and they know our students better than anybody. Involving and valuing what they say would give teachers a greater voice and overall just be a step in the right direction.
The creation of an alternative certification program specific for the Fort Mill School District would allow teachers to get certified in-house. This could possibly sway decisions in our favor and also play a prominent role in decreasing our teacher shortage by accumulating more teachers into the district. We also need to stay focused on out-of-the-box thinking. Within marketing, we are constantly staying aware of what our competition is producing to see if it could possibly benefit us. And I believe as a school district, we need to do exactly that. School districts across the nation have introduced programs that are providing teachers with affordable housing, allowing them to bring their children into the district, creating childcare specifically for the younger children of teachers, and reducing cost in certain areas to help raise teacher salaries. Now, we are not asking the board to do this by yourselves, but we are asking that you allow teachers to the table when discussing and solving these viable issues, since they're the ones that are impacted by it every day. Thank you.
Thank you for your time this evening. I'd like to give a special shout out to Miss Marsh, our teacher, for all the help. Also, Miss Romnick, like you said before. We'd now like to open the floor up to any questions you may have for us.
All right, I'll go first. First of all, that was awesome. I mean, Miss Marsh, Ms. Romnick, I mean, I can't think of a more full circle moment for our district than to have this presentation. I mean, it was just wonderful. I'm somewhat speechless, which is hard for me, but can we scroll back a couple of slides? Can we go back to the student perspective slide? I want to stay in my lane, but if I were a principal, this would be a slide I would want to use with my staff, right? Because I think this sort of reinforces what we want to see from our teachers all the time. What are our students saying? So I think this is an awesome slide. And then can you go forward a few slides? I'm just curious this is the question for you guys, right here. Did you find, if you were to dive deep into data, did these areas, were they prevalent in one age range or another? Like, was it consistent sort of throughout? Was there one reason?
You mean elementary versus middle versus high,
or just within those breakdowns of ages? Like, okay. When did teachers start feeling that they had a lack of voice, right?
We found that these three were very consistent, but they did come about more so in the 11 to plus teachers and as well as the 6 to 10.
Okay. Great. That's all I have. Awesome. Great job.
Thank you. Yeah, I got a couple of them, and we'll actually stay right here. Great job. I mean, like, that's phenomenal. That was really exciting. And oddly enough, this page actually got me a little bit excited. Because hearing lack of voice, fear of backlash, the divide, I'm real interested to hear what these numbers would look like in 2 or 3 years because of Mr. Young's being so active in the schools and making sure that he's seen and closing that divide. You know, it was just the other day we sat in a class that's literally one of the main focuses is on kids who want to go into education. And we sat there and we listened to their questions and we got to have a great conversation. This is stuff he's doing all the time. And so I think you're going to see that you know, that the district office and being in the school, I think you're going to see that start to meet in the middle there. So that's very encouraging. Fear of backlash, you're going to have that in any environment, right? Like people are just going to tell themselves what they want to tell themselves sometimes. But I, you know, what I've seen is that there is always a form of recourse to address anything that's reasonable. And I look at things like reducing cost and like what you were talking about. There's other districts in the state that do. They provide housing and they've got a great plan for that. You know, unfortunately, we don't quite have that same benefit from the state. We're just, it doesn't work out for us. We really wish we could do things like that. But when you're talking about reducing cost, I just want to throw this out. We spend less per student than any any district in York County by a good bit. I think I can't remember what those numbers were, but I know me and Christy were talking about it. But it's thousands of dollars less per student, and you have districts in this state that spend upwards of $25,000 per student, and we're around the $14,000 mark. Isn't that correct? That just goes to say, and we got over 18,000 kids. So we are cutting those costs and reducing those costs where we can, and we do. There's a reason why we pay teachers way more than the state tells us to do. I'm also, just to continue going, I'm encouraged that maybe they just didn't want to release say it, but pay isn't up there. No. As one of the main things that they don't like. So that makes me feel good to know that they're seen, they're valued in that respect right there. And just to add on, they feel like what I also don't see up there, and something you see in a lot of corporations, is like lack of growth. Like they don't feel like they're able to get promoted if that's what they want, and a lot of that is because of what you saw earlier with what's being established with the Leadership Academy. We're making sure we're equipping people who want to go that route. Very, very, very encouraged by your presentation. I think this was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Anything?
I'm just curious what you enjoyed the most about this project.
I think what I enjoyed the most was being able to go out and interview teachers and just all the different types of responses. Even I got to go down to Orchard Park a couple of times to interview, and I went to elementary school there. So it was really great just interviewing the teachers to see exactly what they love and all the questions we were asking them. And then we got to interview the students. And I think that was probably my favorite part, was just connecting with them. And, you had to reword the questions so that they could understand, like, what do you like most about your teacher? And that was really my favorite part.
My favorite part, I would say, as someone who really loves organizing, I got to be the one who organized all of the data that we got through interviews. So I felt like that was really fun to do for me and figure out all of these reasons teachers are leaving, all of the ideas that students come up with, what they like about teachers, about interns, mentors, teacher cadet, teaching students. I thought that was just really fun for me.
I personally enjoy the creative side. I headed the team that made all the videos and went out and got a lot of the footage. So that's one of the things I like a lot, and I like to use it in this aspect to help the community.
So what I was in charge of kind of for this project was trying to set up all the interviews and schedule so we could get the data. And so that was really important for me because it helped me learn like how to manage. I mean, I had 20 other students I had to try to send out everywhere. So yeah, it was very helpful for helping me to learn. And obviously marketing management class helped me develop management skills and real world skills. Yeah, pretty much.
What grade are y'all in?
We're all juniors.
It's a junior, senior class.
Got it. Cool.
They've been through marketing, the requisite to be able to be at this class.
Got it.
Well, we've always been told that students are most enthusiastic when they're working on problems that feel like they matter. And that's the vibe I was getting from y'all, that you enjoyed doing it because it felt important. And it is important to us. So thank you. You did a great job. Lots to think about.
You can pay a consulting company a lot of money to get what y'all just got. So thank you.
Well, think about how many of your real world problems you can put to your students who actually have the
Yeah,
skills.
that's right.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say, Ms. Marsh, thank you to you and your students. First of all, we have probably been presented, a lot of people in this room have been presented multiple educational marketing, from marketing teams about educational tools. And I can tell you, you've done better than all of their marketing teams. So I appreciate what y'all are doing and appreciate your teaching and their learning. And then also to Ms. Romanek and Mr. Burke for their vision on this. This goes back to even Dr. Epps' vision and recruitment and retention because we saw it as a problem a few years ago and really tried to address it. And this is a big help. And y'all have helped us solve a real world problem, like you said. So.
We're happy to continue the discussion.
Yep.
My room is A107.
And we should have, you've had to come to 2 board meetings in a row, Miss Red Nose Award winner.
It's my senior year. You're gonna have to replace me next time.
I'm still going to work on that, Miss Marsh.
Maybe I'm gonna work for Darlene part-time.
Okay, there you go.
I really think the marketing is good. Okay,
I'd just like to echo that great job. What I personally like the most, get the most out of something like this is when our students do help us, whether it's creating the audit report, helping with the creating of that manual, or doing something like this, actually getting those real world opportunities like you mentioned. I think that is a tremendous benefit for you guys and for us. So thank you.
And I'll just add 2 quick things. One, as far as the content of the work itself, I'm actually really encouraged because most of the things that you mentioned, whether it's raising teacher salaries or working on housing or teachers bringing their students to our classrooms, are all things that have been on our radar and that that we're trying to work towards. And so I'm glad because those are things that we actually can potentially affect and would have a benefit. And then as far as the process, what I loved, I appreciate Ms. Pratt asking that question because kudos to you guys for creating an amazing team because that's what makes a team so important is that you've all got your own strengths, you've all got your own passions, and it all comes together. I think about like as this board, we talked a lot over the weekend, which I think is coming up in a minute, having different strengths and playing to your strengths and letting the people that have the creative bent do the creative work, and the ones that like the peoples and they want to go talk to people, let them do that because the other people want to do the analysis. So I think you guys probably learned a little bit about that, which is definitely a real world application as well. So thank you and congratulations. Job well done.
Thank you.
All right. Here's another one that is going to be kind of exciting to talk about, I think. We have the first reading of a policy about admitting non-resident students.
Yeah. How'd that come up? That was timely.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Tonight, I bring for your consideration an amendment to policy JFAB, admission of non-resident students. To give you a little background to why we are discussing this amendment, the South Carolina Department of Education has released model guidelines for what they call an inter-district transfer policy, which will take effect beginning with the 2027-28 school year in accordance with state law. This policy would allow students to enroll in a school district other than the one in which they reside, provided that there is available capacity. It's important for the public and our staff to know that these model guidelines are currently open for public comment through December the 19th. In anticipation of this forthcoming policy, we discussed amending Policy JFAB to allow full-time, non-resident district employees to enroll their children in our schools beginning with the 26-27 school year under district prescribed conditions. Under the proposed amendment, if an employee resigns or retires before their child completes the junior year of high school, the student would be required to enroll in the district of residence. By acting proactively, we believe we can support employee retention by offering that as a benefit a year earlier than this policy would take effect. This change, as I understand it, would also align us with other OEC districts who already accept non-resident employee students. The prescribed conditions would mirror the process we currently use for resident employees. It would include an application process and the submission of a required fee at the time the application is submitted. The fee structure would vary based on the employee's state of residence. So for non-resident employees who live in South Carolina, that fee would be $500. And for those who are out of state, that fee would be $1,500. As I understand it, this is a reflection of the average debt millage contribution associated with a typical home in our district, with approximately a 50% discount for being an employee. Ms. Lordo volunteered, should you have detailed questions around numbers, to talk to you about that, and I welcome her assistance. But at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have related to this.
I'd like to say, I mean, this has been a topic on and off for a number of years.
Yeah.
Not new to us. We've looked at it many times. We've done surveys. At times, it looked like potentially 800 additional students, which is pretty much an elementary school or middle school on the size that we build now. And the question always come back to, will our taxpayers support paying for another building to support this? And we would back off. More recently, the numbers were lower than that. I know that, and I don't know where they're at today. Kind of irrelevant at the moment, but I know this kind of gets into Leanne's area, but do the operational funds follow? I assume the operational funds will follow the child.
Yes, the operational, meaning the state aid to classroom per pupil funding, would follow the student, because they would be enrolled with our district, they would be on our class rosters and submitted to the state as part of our our membership, our average daily membership. So the piece that we are trying to supplement with the fee is directly related to tax revenue that we would not be receiving from those families that do not reside within our district.
Again, operational specific.
Debt specific.
Debt specific.
Debt specific, and we looked at our current millage, but we also looked at our planned debt millage. We anticipate next year our debt millage would need to be around 89 mils, if you remember from the bond referendum plan. And we looked at an average home price or average home value anywhere $400,000 to $450,000. We looked at a home averaging 2 vehicles in the range of $25,000 to $30,000. And based on those values, we would not be collecting tax revenue of anywhere from $2,600 to $3,000. And so by setting the out-of-state resident fee at $1,500, that's where we're getting about the 50% discount for our employees.
But the operational dollars.
But the operational dollars would be the same and would follow the student to our district.
Not for out of state though, right?
Yes, they are in our membership and submitted in our
It's a big deal.
Okay.
submission to the state for average daily membership.
That's great.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay.
Yes. So it's just the local tax dollars that we would not be collecting, that we are offsetting with the fee.
And Leanne, this is something I know. This is something me and I think everybody else we've been wanting to see for a long time. Give the availability because we are, as you said, Dr. Dixon, the only district around here who really doesn't allow it, and we haven't allowed it. Just we haven't been able to
Yes.
afford to.
I confirmed that as recent as last week.
Yep.
While I was in attendance at an OEC meeting, I did verify that all of our other surrounding OEC districts are still currently doing this, and they are.
And could you just unpack beyond, oh, it was too expensive. Could you unpack why we weren't able to do it?
Before?
Yeah.
I think our concern before has been really twofold. One, just having building capacity. So now we've brought on Flint Hill Elementary School, and then we'll be bringing on Flint Hill Middle School. That has probably been the number one concern for us, is just having the building capacity. And during the years where we were in a very, very high growth mode, where now our growth has somewhat been more manageable. Also, our concern about our current taxpayers and how they felt about us allowing non-district students to attend our schools. And as I said, that's why our proposal to you tonight is to assess that fee at the time of application. We will assess the fee, and they will have to pay the fee to apply.
Now, will that be all up at one time, or can we distribute that automatically through
Payroll or something?
payroll?
All at one time.
Okay.
We've discussed, but we have elected to say, that way we're assured that if we guarantee the seat, then we're collecting the funding for it.
And regarding capacity concerns going forward, we've made allowances in seeing, there's some bumpers, some guidelines around.
There's some guidelines. There's some guidelines as far as the district student services looking at placement of those applications. And I believe that the application would allow the family to have a preference of schools, but then we would have to look at seat capacity.
And also, it could be a situation where, because of discipline incidences or attendance issues at their prior district, we might not accept them based on.
They have to be in good standing.
They have to be in good
students.
standing in their current district
Right.
to be
I
able to
think
be
that's
accepted.
important.
Yep.
Okay, and this might be getting a little bit too into the weeds of it, but you've got siblings. One's in SPED, and one's not. How do we say that that one of them's at capacity? How are we going to manage that?
We would.
Dr. Dixon?
I-
That would be.
I mean, I think we would treat it kind of similar to how we treat freezes now. If they both wanted to go to the different school, if that was where, we had capacity, we would put them both at that school.
Okay.
And if the parent wanted one at one school and one at the other, then that would be the teacher's choice or the staff member's choice. But I think we would have to really look at capacity first.
But from what I'm seeing, looking at the actual policy itself and the language that talks about those bumpers, I believe it's consistent with at least the current draft of what we're going to be expected to do inter-district. So, for example, once enrolled in third grade, for the state level, at least the draft that's out there right now, it says once enrolled in third grade, we have to allow them to continue through 12th grade. If a sibling comes, if we've taken the third grader and there's a kindergartner that enrolls next year, we are required. Again, so I think we need to make sure that we also sync this language up, should that change after December the 19th.
Absolutely.
To be consistent, but that's kind of the same things that the state is looking at across the board, from what I understand.
That's correct.
Okay.
Questions?
And I guess the only other thing I would say is to your question about, why not before? You talked about the reasons, right? Mainly capacity and when we were in, building and building and building and all that. But also now, if we're going to be allowing students to come in from other districts because it's a state requirement, the first people we'd like in that line are our teachers' kids.
Yep.
Right? And so this allows us to do that potentially a year early and get that started.
Now, is there, say there's room after that, we got all that, is there a tuition cost, after that for students to come in?
For non-employees?
Yeah,
that out of district?
non-employees? Do we know what that is?
What, double, right?
It
Because
would
you said they're getting a
be the full
50%
amount.
discount?
I don't know.
Yes.
There's a calculation.
From what we have seen of the model guidelines, it does allow for a district to charge a tuition amount, and they will actually come up with the formula, and it is basically the formula we use now for students who own property.
Okay.
And they pay tuition, so it is based on your past budget divided by the number of students, or the average daily membership of the students. So it should be very, very similar to what we currently charge in tuition for the students who own property and are allowed to attend school here currently.
Got it. I just didn't know if it was under the
Yes.
same assumption of the 50%.
Yeah.
No, it's a different
It'll be,
calculation.
It is, and it
it'll
is.
be
It's a
higher.
different calculation.
Correct. It will match more the full amount that we spend per student.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, so this is first reading, and I believe we'll put it on the agenda in January, and by then we should have potentially, maybe not, will we have updates from the state yet if they close it out on December the 19th? I don't know if we will or not.
I think we might have some, but I think they said they would get the next phase of the policy out the end of January or
Okay.
beginning of February is what I heard.
We can at least kind of see where we
Right,
think we
yeah,
are and whether we're comfortable passing something in January with what we know so far. Okay.
There are a couple of guardrails in the memo that are not specified in the policy, right?
That's
Oh,
correct.
Okay, this new software that y'all are, that Donna's making us use, I have trouble toggling between documents, but it looks like the guardrails are in the memo, but not the policy.
Really?
Or how are we gonna communicate those to our teachers? Like, I'm just looking at, daily after-school dismissal arrangements must be made for the child by the parent or guardian. I totally understand the logic behind it, but I would hate for that to catch a teacher who is excited about this
Yes.
by
yes.
surprise.
Two things, I don't know if you can, is this on?
You're not on.
It's not.
Two things that we've done. One is we are paying particular attention to the guidelines so that.
LaToya, you might want to go to the mic,
Yeah.
sorry.
Sorry, it's not working.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to catch you after you sat down.
That's okay. Two things we've done. We have, we're paying particular attention to the state's model policy to make sure we stay in sync. But you may notice we've used the language prescribed conditions. That language allows us to adjust those conditions should the state change its policy along the way. The second thing is we've already developed the application. It is modeled after our current application, which has those same guidelines about transportation, parent responsibility for drop-off and pickup, et cetera.
Okay,
Does that help?
yes.
And that's the current application for transferring within our district.
Correct.
Employees, correct.
Correct.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you very much. Very exciting. Guessing this will be a hot topic around the water cooler tomorrow.
Probably so.
All right, our next agenda item is our update. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, most of us were in Charleston this past weekend attending the, it's called the School Board Association Delegate Assembly. It's a little different than some of the other conferences. This is all about determining the priorities of the School Board Association for the year and electing the state level representatives. And in fact, Ms. Branning is not here, but she completed her duties completely. That she is not the immediate past president anymore. She's the past president. So she is all done with her state level duties. And we have a new regional director in Jessica Cody. because our previous regional director was Scott Childers, who is now the secretary treasurer, and that puts him in line to become the president like Michelle was a few years ago. So a few changes like that. So it wasn't as topical in terms, we didn't do breakout sessions and all that kind of stuff, but I'll just start since I'm talking about a couple other things, and it's interesting because some of them are the things that we've talked about here tonight. One was one of the hot topics that I had made several notes about from some of the legislators and the different advocacy groups that we heard from is focusing on obviously teacher pay, which we heard that the recommendation that's been put out so far is $50,500 as a floor. So that's exciting to continue to get above 50,000. Some focus on spending additional money for safety grants, and I know we have taken advantage of some safety grants, and I'm sure we've got plenty of things that we would love to continue to do that. And then the other topic, sort of theme that I saw woven through here had to do with some of the behavior things and the mental health concerns and the struggles that our students are having and that we are seeing, and I think the state is seeing, not only more of them, more severe, and moving down into younger ages. And so I had leaned over to Mr. Young at one point, and we talked for a second about the fact that Fort Mill School District has a behavior task force. So again, it's encouraging to see that when we learn about these problems, we've already thought about it and already have something in the work. So those were some of the things that I took away as important to-dos or things to keep an eye on. I don't know what you were there. I don't know what you guys would add.
Yep. So I'm going to start with one of my favorite moments of the weekend. The delegate assembly, which is a meeting from 2 to 5 on Saturday, and each district has delegates, and we go and sit at sort of a table, and the people that aren't delegates have to sit behind the ropes and watch. And we go through all the resolutions of the State School Board Association, and Wayne, we missed you in the boys club because it was Mr. Helms, Mr. Bodie, and myself that were the delegates this year. And we sit in the back.
I could say the same.
We sit in the back corner. Yep. York 4, we're the very end, and we were in the back corner. And some we take it very seriously, these resolutions, but there are some school board members that year after year in this process, this is their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like they're going to get in front of the mic and they're going to tell a lot of things that are going to happen here. And this year, we had debate about one resolution, and I'm not going to bore you with the details of the resolution, but after about 40 minutes of debate on this one topic,
40?
We started talking about how if you just added the words "without cause," it would appease both sides that were arguing about this, right? So I go, Joe, go up there and tell them that. But he just walks right up there, goes right to the microphone, tells them. We voted on it, and I don't know if people were so upset that they didn't understand that it appeased both sides, or they were just angry that Fort Mill was suggesting it. But they did a voice vote, and the noes had it, according to the moderator, just because they screamed. And Joe called for
count that vote.
A tally.
Count the
They
vote.
tallied it up, and the yeses won by
Handedly.
2 to 1. 2 to 1. So Fort Mill was instrumental in getting an amendment passed. It was pretty exciting for us. But the one major thing that I took away from it, and Shane Martin, who's a Republican senator from the Greenville-Spartanburg, Greenville area, the audience, the school board members have a chance to ask questions or talk, and I don't know how he got on the subject exactly, what question prompted it. But he said, one of the most critical things that we need to pay attention to in the next year is the governor's race, right? And how important a new governor will be and how that will impact education in 2026. And that kind of carried over the next day. There was a presentation by a gentleman that's with a strategic group, but he was part of the Department of Ed under Betsy DeVos. And I kind of felt bad for the guy because I pretty much think that everybody in the crowd thought he was representing the current administration. He was just there to present facts, but he was putting up slides, about things that were happening. And I took a picture of one slide where he was talking about the funding outlook, the federal funding outlook, which included in the House a $12 billion cut to discretionary education funding, a $3.8 billion cut to Title I, elimination of adult education and ELA programs, right? So it was like gut punch after gut punch after gut punch, and talking about how dissolving the Department of Education and turning it back to the states. And then you sit in a meeting like this and you hear about how, you know, Act 388 is stripping us of, you know, $60 million a year. And we know that private school vouchers are basically stripping us of public money that we deserve to have for our students. I don't have a lot of confidence in the federal government turning things all over to the state when you think about things like that. So it kind of carries the same message that Shane Martin had, is that 2026, if you care about this school district and about public education, we have a lot of races that you need to pay attention to, from local to state to federal, that will impact public education. And that's going to be important for everybody that cares about education to take note of that, figure out who's walking the walk and talking the talk, and who's supporting public education.
Amen.
Yeah. You go, Lippy.
Wayne asked me for a debrief since he was absent, and we did miss you, but I was a little jealous. But one of the things I told him is that when I go to that particular legislative advocacy meeting and I listen to all of the different stakeholders say what they're thinking, and it's coming from so many different sides, I'm always proud that I come from Fort Mill, because we are taking things with more of a problem-solving approach. Neil Collins said that he battles against it in the State House because people want divisiveness, and that's not what public education should be about. And I felt like that, you know, and we talked, we're a team, and as Christy said earlier tonight, we all bring different skill sets that makes our conversations, I think, genuine and meaningful, and we work to get things done. It might seem slow, but we're getting there. But my favorite person to listen to is from the different advocacy groups, and it's Patrick Kelly. And when he was introduced, the person who was introducing him said, "Who doesn't know Patrick Kelly?" And I think we all felt that way, that he was great. But I want to steal this quote from him. Invest in people and personnel, not programs. And I felt like that was one of the most important things that anybody in that room could take away, is that that's where we should really be focusing our time and attention.
Yeah, maybe you should have gone after me because mine's not as happy. But no, I think I left with more, just a little bit more questions and maybe even a little bit of frustration. You know, we sat there on Saturday, and there's a panel from the state legislature, and people get up and they're asking questions about their district, and you just immediately realize how different we are, and I'm just sitting back there thinking to myself, like, this person gets up from, you know, whatever district, and they say, you know, 80% of our funding is from the state. And their scores aren't improving, like they're flatlining, and I'm sitting over there thinking to myself, like, we are your first place runner, like we win about everything academically in this state, and yet we're getting the last place prize. Like, all of these things can just be so extremely frustrating. And I understand they have a whole lot of needs, but I just think, like, you know, how much farther could just a little bit more go for our district? And it's always just it's a constant, obviously it's a constant frustration, and then we hear you know, an analysis, a riveting, absolutely riveting breakdown of the funding formula and everything, you know, right before lunch. This guy was so boring, oh my word, but he knew his stuff. but you can see how rough it is to. There's so much self-reporting from districts that it's not clean. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and so it was. I just had some frustrations there. There was definitely the state from the state board of ed the panel there. They were excellent. That was very, in my opinion, that was a highlight. You know that these people, they're sharp. They know what's going on, and they had a plan, and they definitely have a vision for South Carolina. That was super encouraging. So I will end on a high note there. So yeah, there you go.
Good job.
Yeah, I just want to say this was my first delegate assembly. I was told I did not have to be there for Saturday afternoon, but then after talking with everybody, they said, maybe you should come and witness it, and I'm going to go every year. I had my popcorn, and it was amazing. I love drama. But I did want to say, follow up what Christy said. I think the thing I took away was the conversation about the extreme behaviors in our schools, and knowing that it's not just a statewide issue, it's a national issue and a mental health crisis, and hopefully knowing that our state will put some resources together and funding to help support the schools in these with these issues. So not that it was encouraging to hear that it was from a statewide issue, because I know the issues that we face here in Fort Mill, but it was interesting to hear that this is an issue everywhere, and we need to put some resources towards that. And we have, like Christy said, we have started a behavior task force. We met 2 weeks ago, I think the week before Thanksgiving break, and had some elementary principals on that task force and some other people around the district office and we're really able to brainstorm some ideas moving forward. So we're looking forward to that.
State funded. That's the
Yep.
critical word.
Yep.
State funded.
State funded.
Yes.
Oh, and one more takeaway. The gentleman who really walked into just a firewall, who was breaking down what the current administration's plan for the rolling back and eventually eliminating the Department of Education. So the idea that he was throwing out was, they want to throw it back to the state. And I'm just thinking, I don't want. I think it'd be great I think we could manage it very well, but I don't know how well it bodes for the state of South Carolina. I'll just leave it right there.
I'd like to comment, even though I wasn't there. I oddly kind of miss being there as well. I miss being there, but listen to some of the things I kind of hate I didn't get to witness some of it.
There was
And thankful all at the
there was a
same time.
gentleman in front of us that was just dying to get to the Alabama-Georgia game.
Oh, my word.
Every time somebody would stand up, he'd.
I could feel the arrows just shooting me in the back as I was walking up to this microphone.
I'd like just to let everybody know, I think this is the first one of those I've missed, this particular conference, except for the very first one where I came onto the board and it was not enough time to get registered to go. But I was busy being a proud grandfather, supporting one of our school district students as he was receiving a very prestigious award that he earned. And so I feel pretty justified with that.
And you at least got to represent us at recognizing our superintendent, former superintendent, who was the grand marshal of the parade that we never get to go to because they're always on the same weekend. So
Carried that for us.
that's right. So,
Yes.
all right, we've got a couple action items. The first one is a policy about excused absences that we reviewed a couple weeks ago. Ms. Dixon?
Real quickly, these policies that I bring to you tonight for second reading were shared in our meeting last month and are in alignment with recent legislative changes. Just for clarification, they do allow students to be excused for absences, up to 10 excused absences that are related to CTE student organization experiences. These are not related to CTE courses, but CTE clubs like DECA, HOSA, FBLA, and the like. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those at this time.
I would like to make a motion.
I thought I was gonna move up to
No.
first, but wait a second.
You're dedicated. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the required changes to policy JH as presented by the administration.
Second.
There is a motion and a second to present, to approve changes for policy JH, student absences and excuses, and policy JHE, excused absences for career and technical student organization experiences. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right. And then we have another one, to talk about our dual credit pathways.
Good evening. So we're back again to talk about our potential new dual credit pathways. So to recap briefly from our last presentation, the target audience for this dual credit pathway programs with York Tech, Winthrop, and USC Lancaster would be college-bound students, college trajectory students who would benefit from the rigor and challenge of a dual credit pathway. This could be students who are already taking AP classes or even who are not taking AP classes but are college-bound, and we feel they'll be able to do well in a college-type program. I also want to remind everyone that this program or these pathways will be an additional opportunity for students on top of what we already offer as far as dual credit classes. We currently offer a multitude of opportunities for our students who meet the prerequisites to get into the courses. This includes college level classes in the core areas as well as our CTE focused programs. Some of our current pathways, they also allow our students to complete programs that lead to certifications, which can lead to employment. Some of those are in the areas of welding, building construction, our new cosmetology program, and more. So this isn't to replace anything that we do currently offer. This is just some additional opportunities for our students. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Scroggs, and then I'll be back in a few slides.
So as Dr. Wakes was saying, this is another opportunity. It's another item on the buffet of options available to our students. So some of the things we settled on, we wanted to make you aware of is that tuition, USCL, and York Tech, there is no cost with those because of the Lottery Assistance Tuition Program. Winthrop charges us $10,000 per course to ensure that we have a cohort of 25 students. One of the things we talked about as a cabinet and with Ms. Lordo was an annual fee of $500 for students to help offset the cost. This gives families that are participating in this skin in the game. It also defers some of that cost that's being passed along to the school district. Students in all programs, regardless of Winthrop, USCL, or York Tech, are responsible for the cost of their books. And although it's not up there, we talked about the transportation. They are going to have to provide transportation. So we want to paint an accurate picture of what you have to bring to the table in order to participate. The selection process where we settled, we talked about going purely off of a rank score. We talked about a lottery, and then we bring to you tonight sort of the best of both worlds. We're thinking we're doing the most good for the greatest amount of students with a hybrid application lottery model. This is where interested students are going to submit an application. It's still going to be scored on a 0 to 50 scale. Scoring team will evaluate that application, and they're going to be assigned a number. Any student scoring a 33 or higher is going to be deemed basically a good fit for the program, and that we've taken into account already their GPA. If you had the minimum GPA, you need a perfect score on everything else to hit that 33, because we're saying if you have the lowest score, you need to max out all the other areas, and then obviously you're rewarded even more for higher GPA scores, and you can balance that out a little bit. But who we are sending out to represent us, who we are giving this opportunity to, we want to make sure they're going to thrive. We think a cut score of 33 is going to do that, and then anyone who does that, regardless of where their class rank is, regardless of what their means are, this is going to get all ranges of students, will be entered into a lottery for selection for participation in this program. So that cut score is really going to help us with the best of both worlds. It's still there's still rewards for having a high GPA in here. There's also, if you hit that 3.5, no one is standing in your way of participating. So it's giving everybody an option if you've demonstrated a college readiness for us. It's important to also point out, Dr. Wakesness has worked with a company that performs lotteries for us for a charge. They will handle this. We think that some objectivity and a third party handling it would be the best thing in terms of making sure we could run a random number generator, but this removes us from any tampering or any favoritism that could be shown, because obviously there'll be district employees that'll have children that'll want to participate and many other things. So this takes it off our hands, makes it a cleaner process, and they can even run it from the application on. Once we get it set up, we can kind of tell them how we want it. They'll make it happen for us. So our program capacities, I should point out 25 seats, 60 seats, and 24 seats, but Winthrop is the one that has that hard cap of 25 seats, and we divide those because the schools are paying for those seats, equitable to their representative population. You know, Fort Mill and Nation Ford have the biggest populations. You can't divide 25 seats perfectly 3 ways, so we do 9, 9, and 7. We can even consider a cost adjustment for what the schools are contributing to be representative of that, but that's how those seats break down. The other seats, the 60 for York Tech and the 24 for USEL, are really at large. That was something we heard loud and clear from the board, is that we wanted an opportunity for all district students, so we view this as a district pool. If you score 33, regardless of whichever high school, you're entered into that lottery. When your number is drawn, we'll be able to say, what have you selected? And are there seats available? And that's how those seats will be determined based off of being pulled from the lottery. We do have some protections in there. I think this explains it. York Tech and USEL is just what I described, regardless of the home high school. But for our planning folks, the APIs and the principals at the high school, they need to know how many kids are coming out in advance. And we also mentioned last time it wouldn't pass the smell test if the lottery picked all kids from one school. So we have some protection caps in there. Once it gets to 40% of the 84, that school is kind of capped off, and we'll move to the other schools to make sure that's an equitable load, that the lottery's not skewing to just one area. And that helps, again, as they prepare at the high school for their master schedule. They're not going to get hit with a bubble of, we didn't lose any kids and our seats are overcrowded, or vice versa. We've got everybody gone and we weren't prepared for that either. We might have staffed differently accordingly. So I think this is Dr. Wakesness.
Yeah, so just I wanted to put on the screen in the slideshow some of the current opportunities that we have for our students already that lead directly to employment. So the new programs will not necessarily lead directly to employment, but it will allow students to get a nice jump start on their career. It was interesting, one of the students in the awesome presentation we saw earlier mentioned that some students may not have the means to complete a 4-year program. If they get into this program, if they're qualified and get in, this will help them get half of that taken care of. That would be most likely to transfer to a 4-year program if you want to become a teacher. So that was a nice fit into our presentation. But you see, we have a multitude of different career certifications that our students can earn and these are mostly with York Tech, but also some on our campuses, from health science to auto collision to welding, mechatronics, building construction, and more. So this will just add 3 more pathways for our students. So before we get to any final questions, I do want to say that I think it's important that if this does get approved, that we go into this with a flexible mindset. We have spent hours and hours and hours trying to anticipate every single concern or potential speed bumps when it comes to logistics, but I am certain something will come up that we may not have anticipated, so we'll have to have a monitor and adjust attitude, just like we ask our teachers in the classroom. Also, we'll be very sure to communicate this with our families that if we do get to start this program, we don't control what a college or university does. We will have assigned agreements with them. We have no reason to believe they would change anything. We've worked with them for a multitude of years now, but we don't control what a college or university does, so we just want to have that caveat out there. And I'll answer any questions, or Dr. Scruggs will answer any questions at this time.
I have one question, and I was trying to find it. I know when I was reading it, somewhere in here it said something about we have to start with juniors for Winthrop.
Yes. Yeah, so yes, that is a change from the last presentation. For Winthrop, we'll only allow juniors this first year because of the sequential nature of their courses. We couldn't have 2 grade levels within the same cohort. So for Winthrop, for this coming school year, would be only for juniors, and then the next year after that, we would take another cohort. So we'd have like a senior class and a junior class going at the same time. But for next school year, we would just have rising juniors.
So
'cause
so
we
there will
couldn't
be
have a mix.
25 per grade every year.
Yes, for Winthrop.
For
For the other two schools,
Stays
we
the same.
kind of see it as a
Okay.
big pool. It does not necessarily matter. The courses are not sequential.
Okay.
Where they wouldn't be able to take one level before the next.
Okay.
I might have missed this when I stepped out for a moment. How are we advertising this to families?
So we will, you want to take that
Sure.
one?
So pending approval, which as soon as that occurs, we're going to finalize everything application wise, and then we're going to hold meetings for all families of all high schools to go through this. Each program, we're going to invite the USEL faculty, the York Tech, the Winthrop, and explain the differences so that families are educated on this. We'll push out phone calls as well as emails and ask the schools to follow up with those as well to advertise these information sessions. And we'll start really in January, late January and early February, asking for the applications to be completed.
We don't think there's any risk that we will have trouble filling the seats.
I guess there's always a risk, but I think we're going to have overwhelming interest based off of the survey we did, where it was only about, I think, 8% of the students that said they were not interested out of, I think we had about 450 responses. So with the lottery, the lottery we talked about with the company, we'll use them if we have over 100 students that are interested. So it'll be interesting to see. We don't know for sure, but my gut feeling is we'll have a lot more interested than not. But if we do not fill up the cohorts, we would still be able to offer the program to those that are interested.
Can we get an update in the spring of?
Yeah, and we should put it on
Certainly.
the agenda once
Yep.
you've gone through your application process.
Yes, certainly.
Maybe thinking a little too far ahead here, but do any of these places have any appetite to, hey, if this is a huge success, possibly add more
Yes,
seats?
for sure. Yes.
And they're also very interested in expanding specific programs. They initially wanted to launch an education pathway only, a business pathway only, and we said we really want to get our feet wet with something that's generally transferable before we make something that's so specific. Because although we want to foster education graduates, that's a more narrow band of who is served. So once we start this, we'll figure out how can we branch off in other pathways. But they are eager to expand this both in number and in terms of the specific offerings. You could have students taking advanced accounting classes in the business pathway. You could have advanced education classes in the education pathway. And Winthrop's also eager in pursuing a music pathway, which is something no one in the area has.
Great. Have we already had, I know we had the survey, but have we had people outside of that reach out with interest just based on if they saw the last meeting?
I have not heard anything outside of the survey. I don't know, the schools may have, or you may have.
I've had a few families reach out, but what they're most interested in is the specific courses that would be in those pathways. Once we launched the survey, they wanted to know what classes. Like, I'm interested, but what am I interested in pursuing? And I think the big thing is they want to make sure I'm not signing up for things that are just going to transfer as elective credit, but things that are actually going to credit for credit. This will get me out of my English requirement. This will get me out of my civics requirement, et cetera. So, and that's what we've tried to reassure them. These programs have been solely focused on credit for credit transfer within the state. Out of the state, we can't control it, but within the state, broad transferability.
And I've had a few follow-up as well, just in the community, people coming up and asking, hey, I heard we're going to do dual credit.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not even out and you're kind of hearing a little bit of chatter, that's great. And lastly, I'll just say, I think, great job on hearing the feedback from the last meeting, and I think the way you have it distributed looks perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity for our students, and this, you really looked around every corner, and
thank you.
Appreciate your work. So.
Hearing nothing else, I'd like to make a motion
I was waiting to see who's
to
going to do it.
approve the addition of off-campus dual credit pathways with Winthrop University, University of South Carolina, Lancaster, and York Technical College.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the addition of off-campus dual credit pathways, Winthrop, USC Lancaster, and York Tech. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, off to the races.
Oh, it's on
All right, and with that,
My turn.
we are up to our superintendent report.
All right, so first is our calendar of events. We had a lot go on these last 2 weeks. Just want to talk real quick about the Blue Ribbon Lighthouse Conference in Orlando, Florida. We were able to honor 3 of our schools as Lighthouse schools, Pleasant Knoll Elementary, Tigga K Elementary, and Catawba Ridge High School. Congratulations to those schools. They did a great job. Yes, let's give them a big round of applause. And I will tell you, that was even at a conference recognizing all types of schools from all places in the country, it just made me so proud to be a part of this district. So congratulations to y'all. We had the legislative conference that we just talked about. Board meeting tonight. Don't forget the 19th is a half day for students. That's the last day before break. And then we have winter break from the 22nd through the 31st. Well, actually through the 4th.
Yeah.
And then the 5th is a teacher work day, no school for students. So, and then we get to come back that Tuesday and have another board meeting. So,
Yay.
yep. We have Martin Luther King Jr. holiday on the 19th. We have board visits on the 21st to Tigga K, Gold Hill, both Gold Hills. And then on the 22nd is our teacher forum refresh day, which will have some legislators there. And then we have that afternoon, we have the retreat, the school board retreat. And then on the 30th, we have a 2-hour release day. So a lot going on.
There is, on January the 8th, I think it is, a COG session, and I was looking to see if I could remember what the focus was going to be as far as the, sort of the theme. Workforce housing and readiness, right?
Yes.
Right, so, and then, TBD, but at the moment, it looks like our, retreat on the 22nd will serve as our board meeting versus a traditional board meeting unless something that needs to be, actioned comes about between now and then.
And we'll have that in here because we have to go live to start the
We'll
meeting.
we'll have to do the kickoff before we move into executive session, very briefly, yes.
All right. And then enrollment update, our current enrollment is 18,275, which is up 10 students from just a couple of weeks ago when our last board meeting. Student attendance update, every school for this last month was above 90, for November was above 95.7%. Our high school that had the highest attendance rate was 95.8%, Nation Ford High School. Congratulations, Chris. And then our middle school, by 1/100th of a point, was Pleasant Knoll Middle 97.04. Beat Gold Hill 97.03, I think, or something like that. And then our elementary school, which was also by like a couple of hundredths of a point, was Kingstown Elementary, 97.23, which was the highest in the district. Congratulations, Nicole. And then chronic absenteeism, which you remember this is missing 10% or more of the days of school that we've had so far. Our lowest for high school was Nation Ford at 8.77. Our lowest at middle was Gold Hill Middle School, 4.39. And then our lowest at elementary, which was the lowest in the district, and this was also by 1/100th of a point, it was 2.98 Kingstown Elementary. River Trail was 2.99, so. And then I wanted to just give y'all a quick update. I know it's not on the agenda about our student involvement project or student engagement project that Tony Carey's working on. He gave us some numbers, I think yesterday or this morning, and he has started the process. He's not done at Fort Mill and Nation Ford, but at Catawba Ridge, got a lot of good feedback. School-wide, they have a 27.41% of non-rostered students, and that means that 27.41% of the students at Catawba Ridge are not involved in an extracurricular activity. So that has gone down since his first numbers came out. So it's because these freshmen have started to get involved in different things and also other factors for our upperclassmen.
Do you know if that is specifically rostered things at the school?
At the
So-
school.
Okay.
Only at the school. So
So they could be involved in some dance
yep,
program outside,
correct.
but not at the school?
Yep,
Okay.
at the school. So now what he'll do is he'll start looking deeper into this stuff and start having those small groups and finding out what those obstacles are for our students to be engaged in something. So, and finishing up those numbers at Fort Mill and Nation Ford. So excited about that. Obviously, ninth grade is our highest non-rostered grade level, and that's just because sometimes they don't tend to know what's going on until, nothing against ninth graders, but they're just trying to figure it out, get into high school. So they finally figured out second semester and get involved in more things. So we're excited about where that's going and excited to see what results we have there.
Two quick questions. I don't know that you will know, but it's a reminder that we will graduate some number of
Correct.
students in December. I don't know, it's usually in the 70, 80 range, so that'll adjust our numbers when we come back next time unless it has dramatically changed from previous years. Oh, and then I was thinking how great these numbers look from attendance in November. I hope they look as good in December. I hear lots of tales of illnesses going around, so I hope everybody stays well during the holidays because, yeah, like I said, it seems to be rampant through the community, so.
Well, the good thing is high school students better stay till next Friday because they have exams.
That's right. That's right.
I don't want to miss those.
But we are in need of a brief executive session to discuss personnel, legal, and contractual matters. So we will move into executive session. I will thank you all for joining, and have a great holiday. All right, back in open session. Motion to move back into open session.
So moved.
We are back in open session. While in executive session, we discuss personnel, legal, and contractual matters. We have no action to take, and at this point, happy holidays, everyone. We are adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Hey, I want to make it known that I don't know